The IKEA Business Network is now open for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Join for free today to get access to interior design services to help you make the most of your workspace, employee well-being benefits to help you and your people grow, and amazing discounts on travel, insurance, and IKEA purchases, deliveries, and more. Take your small business to the next level when you sign up for the IKEA Business Network for free today by searching IKEA Business Network.
This episode is brought to you by La Quinta by Wyndham. Your work can take you all over the place, like Texas. You've never been, but it's going to be great because you're staying at La Quinta by Wyndham. Their free Bright Side breakfast will give you energy for the day ahead. And after, you can unwind using their free high-speed Wi-Fi. Tonight, La Quinta. Tomorrow, you shine. Book your stay today at lq.com.
This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2779. Bucket Your Money by Jesse Cramer of BestInterest.blog. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Welcome back to Optimal Finance Daily, where every day I read some of the best personal finance blogs on the web in about 10 minutes or less. So with that, let's get right to it as we optimize your life. Bucket Your Money by Jesse Cramer of BestInterest.blog. An easy way to level up your finances is to bucket your money. What's bucketing? It's a mental accounting trick that helps both your objective financial plan and your subjective financial mindset. And it's really simple to implement. We'll start by dividing your liquid net worth, cash, stocks, bonds, etc., but not your home equity, car, or other material goods, into 4 buckets. These buckets look slightly different if you're still working or retired. So let's start with someone who's still working. Still working. If you're still working, your buckets are: bucket number 1, your next 6 months of expenses. Bucket number 2, any big savings goals for the next 1 to 2 years. Bucket number 3, any big savings goals for the next 3 to 10 years. And bucket number 4, all money beyond 10 years, including retirement savings. If you're retired. And if you're retired, your buckets are: bucket number 1, the next 6 months of expenses. Bucket number 2, month 7 through year 2's expenses. Bucket number 3, year 3 through year 10's expenses. And bucket number 4, all money to be spent beyond year 10. What to do with the buckets? Now you're asking, what do we do with each bucket? We invest them, but we don't invest them equally. The timeline of the bucket dictates the investment risk we can take. Short-term buckets should be invested in a low or no risk manner. Long-term buckets should be invested with more risk, pursuing more reward. Bucket number 1 is all about near-term spending. It should be cash. It needs to be liquid and dependable since you need that money in the short term. You can't put these dollars at risk. Bucket number 2, next 2 years, can take some risk, but not too much. You need to feel confident that your investment will maintain value or grow slightly larger in just 2 years. Short-term bonds or certificates of deposit make sense here. Bucket number 3 permits even more risk. We have 3 to 8 years to achieve investment growth. A mix of intermediate term bonds and stock funds can be appropriate here. And bucket number 4's long timeline permits the most risk. Most of this money won't be spent for multiple decades. Stocks are an ideal asset in this bucket. My money don't wiggle. There's wiggle room on the timeline for each bucket. Some people think bucket number 1 only needs to be 3 months of expenses. Others argue it needs to be at least 12 months. Similar arguments can be made for each bucket. A year here or there. More or less risk in each bucket. This is the soft science of financial planning. Feel free to tweak your buckets, but maintain the overall idea. Let's walk through a few examples. Example number 1, a typical young family. Let's talk about the Johnsons, a 40-year-old couple. They have 2 children, ages 12 and 8. Their household spends $6,000 per month. Both parents are still working. They expect one of their cars has about 2 years of life left. Their older child will be starting college in 6 years. Based on this information, bucket number 1 contains 6 months of spending, or $36,000. It's in a high-yield savings account at a bank. Bucket number 2 contains about $35,000 for their next car. That money is invested in 2-year treasury notes, AAA rated, backed with the full faith and credit of the U.S. government, earning 3% per year. Bucket number 3 has $150,000 earmarked for the first 3 years of college payments, years 6, 7, and 8 from now. That money is split between 5-year treasury notes earning 3.3% per year and stock index funds. Bucket number 4 has another $300,000. The rest of the Johnsons' liquid assets, including their IRAs and 401k accounts. It's 100% invested in stock index funds, about 70% US-based companies and 30% international companies. Most of this money is retirement money that can't be touched for another 20 years. Since the Johnsons maintain a budget, they know their dual incomes can cover all of their day-to-day spending. Bucket number 1 is there in case of emergency. It's a safety net. The remaining 3 buckets are allocated based on the Johnsons' clear-cut goals and timelines. If their goals or timelines change, the dollar amounts in these buckets will change. You might wonder, what about the Johnsons' earnings? Where does new saved money go? Great question. The answer is, go bucket by bucket, starting with bucket number 1. Ask, is the money needed here? If it's not needed in buckets number 1 through 3, then it goes to bucket number 4. The Johnsons' first 3 buckets are fully funded for their goals. Their new savings don't need to go into those buckets, so it's placed into bucket number 4 and invested in the stock market. We can zoom out on the Johnsons' total portfolio allocation. $36,000 in cash, or 7% of their liquid net worth, $135,000 in bonds, or 26%, and $350,000 in stocks, or 67%. This portfolio is in family with a traditional 70-30 portfolio, but we built it from the ground up based on the Johnsons' unique circumstances. Example number 2, the new retirees. The Smiths, age 62, just retired. Here are some of their stats. They have $1 million in their 401ks and IRAs. They plan on spending $50,000 per year in retirement. For their first 5 years of retirement, 100% of their spending will come from their savings. They'll start collecting Social Security at age 67, full retirement age, which will cover half of their spending needs thereafter. The Smiths' bucket number 1 contains $25,000 in cash for the next 6 months of spending. Bucket number 2 contains $75,000 for the following 18 months of spending, and it's invested in 2-year treasury notes. Bucket number 3 contains $225,000 total. $150,000 is for years 3 to 5, before the Smiths start collecting Social Security. $75,000 is for years 6 through 8, when half of their income will be supplied by Social Security. This $225,000 is split between 5-year treasuries and stock index funds. Bucket number 4 contains their remaining $675,000 and is invested in stocks. If we zoom out on the Smiths portfolio, we see $25,000 in cash, or 2.5% of their liquid net worth, $225,000 in bonds, or 22.5%, and $750,000 in stocks, or 75%. This is roughly a 75-25 portfolio, which is aggressive for 2 retirees. But we need to consider that their Social Security should be considered fixed income, just like bonds. If we were to add their Social Security fixed income into their 25% bond allocation, we would see their portfolio ratio shift significantly. $25,000 in Social Security income is equivalent to owning $700,000 in bonds paying 3.5% per year. $25,000 in cash, or 2% of their net worth. $225,000 in bonds plus $700,000 equivalent in Social Security is $925,000 in fixed income, or 54%. And $750,000 in stocks is 44%. The Smiths portfolio, including Social Security, resembles a 45-55 portfolio. That's much more in family with traditionally prescribed retirement portfolios. The difference, however, is that we built the Smiths portfolio from the ground up using the bucket method. How to bucket your money. Use the examples of the Johnsons and the Smiths to bucket money in your life. Determine your goals, apply a timeline to them, allocate money to each goal, and take risk based on the required timeline. Depending on your age and your goals, you might find a unique proportion of money inside your buckets. That's okay. The point of this exercise is to build a portfolio unique to your life using an objective goals-based framework. Every approximately 6 months, revisit your buckets to ensure your portfolio is still aligned with your buckets. You'll have an objectively smart financial plan and a subjectively easy method of mental accounting. You just listened to the post titled Bucket Your Money by Jesse Cramer of BestInterest.blog, and I'll be right back with my commentary. Have you been frustrated with personal finance apps that are cluttered with ads, difficult to use, or rarely updated? So is Monarch. They built a new kind of personal finance app that's intuitive and powerful, ad-free, and constantly improving based on customer feedback. Maybe you're saving for a down payment, a wedding, a dream vacation, your kids' college. I found that Monarch makes it so easy to help you reach your financial goals, whatever they are. I definitely wouldn't be able to allocate my finances or plan as clearly without help from Monarch. In fact, Monarch is the top-rated all-in-one personal finance app. It gives you a comprehensive view of all of your accounts, investments, transactions, and more. Create custom budgets, set goals, and collaborate with your partner. And now get an extended 30-day free trial when you go to monarchmoney.com/OFD. After trying out Monarch for myself, I understand why it's the top-rated personal finance app. And right now, get an extended 30-day free trial when you go to monarchmoney.com/OFD. That's monarchmoney.com/OFD for your extended 30-day free trial.
The IKEA Business Network is now open for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Join for free today to get access to interior design services to help you make the most of your workspace, employee well-being benefits to help you and your people grow, and amazing discounts on travel, insurance, and IKEA purchases, deliveries, and more. Take your small business to the next level when you sign up for the IKEA Business Network for free today by searching IKEA Business Network.
I think Jesse makes a solid argument for 4 financial buckets, though it does make me a little bit envious of people who have this kind of clarity on financial goals and timelines. It probably would be more optimal to conservatively invest money you plan to use in the short or midterm. But I find for myself that 2 buckets works better for my lifestyle. I have a really strong cash cushion that can cover any emergencies and opportunities that present themselves. And then I have my 100% stock investments that I don't plan to touch for many years, quietly working in the background. Some would argue that I'm holding too much cash, but for me, it's an answer to my lack of clarity when it comes to financial goals. For example, when I bought my house, it wasn't because I had this goal for years and steadily saved the down payment. An opportunity presented itself that I couldn't pass up, and I had the cash on hand. Also, when I was younger, I put some money into a CD, but then misjudged my timeline on when I would need the money, so ended up paying penalties to access it early. I also tend to go for simplicity over optimization at all costs when it comes to money management. My Midwestern gentleman and I already have an overwhelming number of financial accounts to track, from checking accounts to savings and retirement accounts, as well as credit cards we use for rewards points. I'm not sure that the benefits of the 4-bucket strategy described here are worth the complexity of more accounts. And that does it for another edition of Optimal Finance Daily. I hope your weekend is going well. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back with another post for you tomorrow. So I'll see you there where your optimal life awaits.